Hey, welcome to the Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show. Yup, today is just another wonderful semi-autumnal, I would say, day, and I feel like we need to have a conversation. I think today's actually the day I'm recording, which is the 22nd of September is the official start date for autumn, for the fall season, you know? So I guess it's like the perfect time to do this episode. The idea for this, so basically what I'm going to talk about is mostly this TV show specifically that it just dropped last Thursday here in the UK, and I think it's like usually Wednesdays basically in the US. But anyways, I'm referring to Agatha all along, a new TV show from the minds of WandaVision. That's Marvel universe roughly, but this TV show is like completely unrelated, I guess, to like the bigger Marvel scheme. Like it's just in the WandaVision world, like Westview and all that stuff, which I'll get into later a bit. I'll give a bit of a context, I guess, a summary in that sense. But I would venture to say that this is like probably not related whatsoever to the entire big picture of the MCU. We'll see. It depends on how it ends, of course. But as of now, it seems like it's a very standalone type of project, I guess. And yeah, that there's a lot to discuss there, I guess. But it's a very what's the link between like autumn and that show? Well, it's a very autumnal show about witches, witchcraft, covens, all the above, hexes and all that. Not hexes, but like a hex, like a magic spell. Bitch, I need to put that on record. We're not talking about X's tonight. But yeah, so I thought like it would be nice to just ring in the spooky season, I guess, with a bit of a first early reaction of this show. I think it has in total like nine episodes, but they dropped the first two together, as I said, this past Thursday here in the UK and Wednesday usually in the US. So it's gonna be a weekly show, so interesting. I'm excited to see how we keeps on evolving, and yeah, just a lot of fun. Anyways, before we get too out of track, let's just first start with the songs of the week, and we can just like go from there. So first off, I've been rediscovering a lot of Ryan Betty. I don't know how to like pronounce his surname. It's spelled Beatty. So I assume it's Ryan Betty. I don't know. Anyways, he famously came onto the scene with like his EP Boy in Jeans, and he gave us so many great songs there. But I think one that I rediscovered recently was Power Slide, and that is an interesting, I would say, I've interested like it's like R&B adjacent track. Very cool, very how to say, like I like his world, like it is I think his biggest strength I assume he writes his own songs as well. His songwriting is like this very cinematic type of writing, or like very like diaristic, I guess. Or like I love how he picks up on like he starts talking about random facts and people, and he starts singing about these people in the song or whatever. Like it starts off from a single action or an event, and he starts picking up an entire song. So yeah, I'm sipping on some tea, by the way, in the meantime, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I love this vibe personally. Like I loved Power Slide specifically, great track, really loved it. And I think another song that I rediscovered, I saved it before, so I had to like really dig through his songs. Was it like Teeth? What is it called? Let me double check again. But I'm adding definitely Power Slide. Let me see. It's on the other song I'm referring to is on his other album called Calico, and it's called White Teeth. There you go. Oh, that sounded like that's kind of like a Lord White Teeth Teens, whatever. So yeah, I mean, if you like, but here's a big difference I think between the two albums. The first one is a bit more like fun, like a lot of different elements, a lot of like pop, R&B influences there, while the second one, I think it's more like confessional songwriting and more like I don't say specifically acoustic, but there are a lot of like acoustic guitar songs on this second record, and but there's also a lot of like very cinematic sort of production here. So yeah, very cool stuff. I think his writing and his like world building in a way reminds me so much of Call Me by Your Name for whatever reason. I don't know why. I mean, it is queer coded in that sense. So I mean, there's a lot of queer stuff in his lyrics. So yeah. But I don't know. It gives me that like whenever I listen to his songs, I'm like transported to like that sort of vibe. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, those two songs are added to the list. Let's move on to another track called Make a Wish by Baymac, Aisha Erotica, and Stargirl. So this track, very rare for me, but this track I think was on, I think I found, like I stumbled upon it like on TikTok, I assume. I think it was one, actually, yeah, oh yeah, no, I never remember. It was a fan edit of actually, Agatha All Along, the TV show I'm going to talk about later but it was an edit of the main character with this song in the background, and I was like, oh, that song slaps, and it was like a very cunty like type of track, and of course it's Aisha Erotica, so you know what we're getting into, like it's hyper pop, very cunty, very poster girl, very like drugs and sex and all that stuff and all that. Like if you know anything about Aisha Erotica, that's a typical Aisha Erotica. But I think what's very interesting about this track is the beat is so fucking good. It's a very fast paced, I guess, track in a way, and I just love it personally. Like I love that type of genre. Like hyper pop is my shit personally. So like Aisha Erotica, she's a very problematic figure, I guess, in the hyperpop space, but she makes some banging songs. Like she's really good at what she does. So the track is good. The track is fire. So it's gonna be on the list. I don't care. And you're gonna have to put up with it. And maybe you'll be interested in it. I don't know. Maybe just go and listen to it. Forgot to say again to plug it that these songs are gonna be my playlist of the month. It's called the Overshare Pamphlet Songs of the Week, and I do one for each month, so just search. This one is going to go in September's songs, so just search for the month, and you'll be finding all these tracks that I'm referring to. So it's also a cute way of, like, recapping the month. Actually, to be fair, like, since now I've been doing this, like, podcast for almost a year now, I am so like impressed by the playlist in a way. Like they build they're sort of like a little time capsule as well of like what I was listening to in that specific time of my life. So I'm kind of like loving this concept, honestly. So yeah. A lot of fun. And then to close off the songs of the week, I want to put in a K-pop track that came out recently called Gum by Yeonjun. He's from the boy group called TXT under BTS's label, and the song is like, see, that's what I mean. Like in my mind, this is like kind of the beat of the song, not necessarily the well, maybe even the lyrics. But imagine Toxic by Britney Spears, but like K-popified, I guess, like in the K-pop world, sung by a boy, but I guess, well, of course, K-pop is a bit more like PG-13, I guess. It's not really that like explicit, but it's that vibe. Like even the beat, like there's no, like, you know how in Toxic there's like a guitar riff that goes dun 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 dun, like, you know, like that kind of, like, you know, like strum that goes in and out. I'm not sure if it's a guitar in this song as well, but it's like definitely synth based, and it's just so good. Well, the chorus doesn't really have anything to do with Toxic, like dun 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 and all that stuff, but it's I don't know. Whenever I listen to something, I'm like, oh, that kind of like that's like giving Britney Spears, but if she were a boy, a K-pop boy, well, he's not a teen, but a K-pop, like, young adult, let's just say, in 2024, like very much hyperpop adjacent, I guess. Again, like that sort of very aggressive type of production. I think that's really becoming very popular in K-pop right now. It's the new wave, I guess. Everyone is doing a bit of hyperpop or like house influence as well. So love to see that. That's one of my favorite genres, to be fair. So yeah, this song is fire, honestly. I love also the modulation on the vocals that they do for him. The choreo for this, holy shit. What the fuck? That's one of the craziest choreos I've ever seen. Like it looks very hard. I'm not gonna attempt to like learn it because I don't want to break my fucking back and knees and legs. But yeah, like sick stuff. Yeah, so that pretty much brings us to the end of the songs of the week. You can find them as usual in that playlist I was talking about, but let's just get into like the actual main star of this show, which is this TV series called Agatha All Along. So now I don't know how many people have watched WandaVision, how many of my listeners are Marvel stans. I unfortunately have a curse, which is like being so interested in pop culture, like listen, watch to pretty much anything. So whatever you're gonna, you know, I'm gonna be having an opinion on many of these things, but I'm a stan through and through. So I was there at the beginning of the, you know, the Marvel faces and all that stuff. I've been following it since forever. I'm still interested in the Marvel universe, I would say, even though like we all can agree that it like fell off after Endgame in a way. Like I think the last good thing that came out of Marvel was actually, I mean, I think they were at a peak even during the beginning of the pandemic, which was when Loki and WandaVision and I'll venture to say even Falcon and Winter Soldier came out. But after that, I think the movies and TV shows have been very lackluster, mixed quality, mixed bags, and all that stuff. But yeah, all that to say that basically we, the Marvel fans, have not been on a high road recently. We have not been enjoying good content, I guess, for a while. And I think part of it is also, well, I think in a way it's the, you know, switch of management. Well, now we're back onto the real management again, like the old management of Disney. But there was a bit of like a change in management throughout this time, and like there was a hyper productive output from any sort of like Disney division. To be fair, I think is because like it was a very specific request from the news. Well, at the time, the new CEO. But now we're back to old management, and I think we're back to quality control, and I think you can sort of start to you're starting to see finally, I guess, the success in this strategy once again. We were begging to like, you know, slow down, and we got that in the end, which in a way I think is very beneficial. I mean, we used to have like so much content like back in 2022, I guess. Like so many movies, too many Marvel movies actually, too many TV shows all at once. So I think people also started losing a bit of interest in keeping up because there was so much and it was so difficult to keep up with everything, and it was very unclear at the point if it was necessary to follow every single TV show. And then it came out like, well, they finally put, I think, a final sentence on that, which is basically that Marvel TV shows are not essential to the plot line of the Marvel movies in that sense, but they are existing in the same world, basically, but they do not influence majorly in any sort of way the canon, I guess. So, but all that is not to say that you should not watch these things. Of course, if you are not bothered, or like you cannot be bothered to like follow any TV shows or whatever, that's totally fine. That's great. Like that's what now Marvel, I guess, finally decided to do, which is like, if you don't want to watch it, it's fine. You're not gonna ruin. This is not gonna ruin your like experience when watching the movies. But I want to make a case for this one specifically because I think this one is pure quality. It's like incredible, very unexpected as well, I would say. Like, I think the great part about it is also that the marketing team, I think, did a great job at like raising awareness about the show, like making people know that the show was gonna, air. And like I saw so much stuff on like TikTok and on YouTube and on different places, and I'm like, you know what, let me just like give it a shot and let me see. And if I do like it, I'm gonna keep going, or if not, I'm gonna drop it, like I did with previous TV shows from Marvel specifically. But anyways, my point is that I do want to make a case for this one, because I think even though it's not connected clearly to the greater scheme of Marvel, of the Marvel and of the MCU, basically of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think taking this like TV show by itself, it's actually a very sophisticated and like interesting, fun show for the fall season. I think it came out at a very perfect time. It's leading up to actual Halloween, I think, because I think the last two episodes dropped at the same time on the 30th of or the 31st of October. So like right on Halloween Day, you're gonna have the final episodes of this show. But yeah, so as I was saying, this is part of, well, it's technically like a spin-off series from a previous TV show, which was WandaVision. Now, even in that case, you don't even need to even have watched WandaVision, but just for the sake of, this episode that I'm doing, I just want to give like a little brief, like very inoffensive, very like non-descriptive, I guess, like as like shallow as possible sort of summary of WandaVision. So WandaVision is basically about this character, character that we all love in the MCU called Wanda Maximoff. She is basically, how do I even like begin with this? Basically, I think the way we go with this is that she is in this TV, like it seems like she's like trapped in different TV shows or whatever, like from past times, like old like reality TV and all that stuff, and she's trapped in this world with like her love interest, let's just say, who is basically like an android. But that's besides the point. Like she is in love with this character, and this character, in truth, he's already dead. Like we've known from previous Marvel movies that he was actually killed, and that's where he leads her basically. So it's a whole like show about uncovering a mystery about this character, Wanda Maximoff, and her origin story and like her powers and all that stuff. And it's also about grief, and it's also a bit of a mystery on what's going on in this town. But it turns out basically that Wanda, unconsciously to process her grief for her lover, has created this alternate reality in this town called Westview. She has distorted reality in this like small town to bring back her lover, basically, right? Even though it's like not a real person anymore, like she just projects and creates out of nowhere like a projection of like this of her like previous partner, basically. So it's a very complicated, like sophisticated type of show like that, and she goes through like these TV, like she creates this alternate reality through different TV shows that she used to watch as a kid. And so you have a lot of callbacks to very iconic shows, including like like black and white shows, like all that, like very old TV, American TV. And she is basically a witch. It turns out like throughout this the TV show that we learn that she's a witch. And Agatha, which is instead the main character of this spin-off series, was also a witch, has noticed this like weird basically coincidences in this town. Like she has noticed the power of this Scarlet Witch. Basically, it's her acronym of Wanda Maximoff, and she wants to absorb her powers and get she's an evil witch, Agatha, right? So that's where we got like the end of the WandaVision. If you don't want to see it, just skip to just skip like a minute or something ahead. But the end of WandaVision is basically that Wanda realizes that she's like in this sort of alternate reality she's created, and she is sort of realizing that this evil witch was infiltrated her reality, and she was trying to get her powers or whatever. So she frees herself from this sort of confusional state, and she manages to beat this witch, whatever, and she forces her to stay in this town under a hex. So she's cursed basically by Wanda. Agatha is cursed by Wanda, and she's forced to live in this town in a in her own view. She's still in this fictional world, and she's powerless. She has no powers anymore. She's been taking all the powers from Wanda. Sorry, Wanda's taken all the powers from Agatha. So it's this whole thing where Agatha, in the end, she's trapped in this world and in her mind as well. She thinks she's still in a TV show, whatever. So she goes for 3 years completely under Wanda's spell, right? So we got Agatha All Along now, which is basically her TV show. She's still trapped in Westview, and we start off. I'm only specifically going to talk about the first 2 episodes because that's what I've seen. Because those are the only 2 episodes that came out. But the beauty of this show is basically that you start off right where you left off, right? And you don't need to know anything about this because the first episode actually does a great job at sort of putting you in perspective. You immediately start off with her sort of in a crime TV show, sort of she's trying to solve a murder, right? And the murder in question is of Wanda Maximoff, because in the meantime, Wanda in the movies, she's died as well. So now that she's dead, the hex on Agatha, even though it's still there, it's sort of wobbling, right? It's sort of getting weaker, and she's trying to uncover what's going on. So in her mind, in her in her curse, basically, she's turning her reality into a crime TV show, which is so smart because she has to solve a murderer who's died, and she's trying to uncover the truth. Who is she? Can she go back to normal? Does she know who she is? And so in the first episode, you follow her uncovering this murder, right? So you meet different, people in that sense, different characters who are also from WandaVision. It's very cool, and I would say it brings you straight into this world. Westview is very fall vibes in that sense. You literally there's a creek where she finds this body of supposedly Wanda, whatever, and it's just very, it puts you immediately in a mood. And throughout these 2 episodes, well, actually, at the end of the first one already, she is out of the spell, right? So she's out of the spell. She's basically very much realizing that she's been trapped in this whole thing for 3 years, and she's lost her powers now, and she wants basically her powers back. And so to get those powers back, she has to walk the Witch's Road, which is actually a real thing. If you know anything about witches and all that stuff, it's actually a real path that witches used to walk to obtain power or whatever. But it's a very dangerous road. It's an actual track, an actual basically road to that should lead you to what technically you wish the most. But I think what we're gonna go for here is that at the end of this whole show, I think personally, my prediction is that they're all the witches involved in the show are gonna get what they actually need the most instead. Not what they want, but what they need. Something that is gonna fulfill them or whatever. Not necessarily power, but what they actually do need, and to turn their lives around in that sense. But anyway, so to get to this Witch's Road, she needs a coven, and Agatha does not have a coven anymore. She does not have one, so in the second episode, roughly, she starts going around collecting witches, basically. She goes to a divination witch who tells her basically that her entire team is supposed to be made up of these people and all this stuff, so she has to go and collect all of them. And in the there basically she collects, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I think it's like in total it's like 5 witches plus her, so it's 6 in total, and she has to collect all of them to be able to conjure the witch's road, right, and to like walk the path, basically. So anyways, so she goes around, collects all these witches, and it's like very, full of references to like actual real witches as well. There's like a lot of potion magic, and then a lot of like clairvoyancy, and all of that. Like it's very like, if you're a fan of like magic, or like anything about lore of Salem or all these things, like you will be feasting here, because there's a lot of like those kind of like Easter eggs, I guess, which is the secret sauce of like Marvel, I guess. It always used to be like about Easter eggs and all that stuff, but here, instead of being like an Easter egg for Marvel content per se, it's more like an Easter egg for like this. Like there's plenty of Easter eggs about witches and witchcraft and all that stuff. But anyways, so she goes around and collects these people, and among these witches, there's 2 very important characters who are like technically supporting roles, I guess, but they're like second characters, I guess. Like the main character is Agatha, of course, but I think these other 2 are very close to like being also main characters, I guess. One of them being a kid called, well, we know his name as Teen here. We refer to him as Teen because we cannot actually know his name. He's under a hex as well, and which renders basically impossible for anyone to know his name or his like identity or whatever it is. Now, we don't know if no one else can know about this. Like no one else, like everyone else is affected by this hex. Like he's affected by the hex, of course, but we don't know if no one else can like hear his name or whatever it is. Or if it's just Agatha, but we know that basically Agatha cannot know his name. Like whenever she tries to ask him for his name, his mouth disappears or whatever it is, and there's a magic hex on him. And whenever she tries to like uncover any information about him, there's either like nothing there, or like she, for example, when she talks to him about it, she asks him questions. Whenever he talks about himself, she cannot hear his voice or whatever. Like it's so interesting and so mysterious. I don't know. Like I think knowing the comics, there's a lot of speculations about who he could be. We know even from this first 2 episodes that Agatha has lost a son. We don't know if she sacrificed him for something or whatever happened to him. We don't know that. So some people are speculating that maybe it's him, or like it's a reincarnation of him, or like of her son, or some people are saying that it might be a very important Marvel character called Wiccan, who is in the comics Wanda Maximoff's son. So we don't know specifically that yet, but we know just a few things about this guy, and those things are, one, that he is obsessed with Agatha. Like he knows everything about her. He's very, very much a fan, and he's very much of a fan of like witchcraft and all that stuff. He wants to have more, like according to him, he wants to walk the witch's road because he wants power as well. He wants to be more powerful, and I don't think we're buying that, because he was actually already very powerful enough to finally put Agatha out of her hex, in terms of being trapped in her own mind or whatever. So he's quite powerful. He's quite powerful already. So I'm not really sure if that's actually what he wants. There's also that big, like, I think, question mark there. I think he might have an ulterior motive, or like a different motive there. We don't know that yet, but anyways. And then we also know that he is very much the main proponent for this witch's road. Like he's the one who tells Agatha about the witch's road again. She already walked it once in her life, apparently that's what they say in the show, and she came out alive. But he's suggesting to her that if she wants to take her power back, she might have to walk the witch's road again, and she goes into this whole plan because of him, basically. So yeah, that's all that we know about him. Like he's very much front and center throughout the first 2 episodes, so we follow him for sure, but we don't know much about him. The other character who's very central is Rio, who is, instead of Green Witch, like an Earth Witch. She is also another person we meet very early on in the show, first episode, and she also tries to push Agatha towards, like, breaking the spell. Like, she asks her many questions that make her doubt and all that stuff, and so she is the one also who, like, helps her push herself to, like, the brink of getting out of this. And also Rio is apparently, like, it's very much established in my opinion, but she is Agatha's ex-lover. And we don't know exactly what happened, but also we know a couple of things about her. We know that Agatha cannot consume her powers because she would die if she did that, while Agatha can, like, absorb any other witch's powers. She cannot absorb Rio's powers. But also we know that Rio cannot kill Agatha. We don't know why, but maybe there's some sort of, like, hex on her as well. We don't know that. We don't know anything about it. But there's, like, a couple of scenes where, like, they face off or whatever, but Agatha and Rio are not entirely on the best terms. Rio wants to kill Agatha, and Agatha hates Rio as well, and all that. So the way they, like, call truce is because basically Agatha convinces her that she wants to take her powers back, and that would be a fair fight if they both have their own powers, right? So yeah, but Rio is sort of, I don't think entirely that she wants to actually kill for real Agatha. It still pretty much seems that she's still in love with Agatha. We don't know exactly why they broke up or whatever happened. We don't know. I think there's some speculation that maybe Agatha must have, like, sacrificed. She must have left her after, in the pursuit of power and the Darkhold, which is like a dark book that was used throughout, even the previous show, whatever, WandaVision. So we don't know exactly what happened there. But I'm very much curious to know what is up there. And also, in the second episode, Rio is not there. She doesn't go on the witch's road with them. But then from trailers, we see that she's with them. So she's also going to walk the witch's road. So I'm very intrigued, to see what is her motive and, like, why does she want to, like, walk the road. Very interesting. To me, personally, by watching the first episode, it seems like Rio and Teen are acting together, even though they never have a dialogue. Like, the two of them never actually speak to each other, but it seems very odd that both of them appear out of nowhere at the same time, and they both want to help her get out of the spell and, walk the road or whatever. So I don't know. There might be something there, but we don't know that yet. So that's the beauty of it. I think there are so many mysteries in this show from the get-go that, just, I think, from a plot perspective, if you're interested in that, really hook you in. I watched the first episode and I'm like, oh my god, this is actually really good. Like, it's very well written, very rich in witchcraft history and all that stuff. So that's another plus point. If you like that, I think you might be interested in this. Then I think also, if you're a fan of any sort of, like, old either TV show or, like, movie about witches, like, I'm talking about The Wizard of Oz, Wicked, I would say even, which is crazy, like, yesterday I rewatched it with my friends. I probably watched it when I was, like, very young, so I didn't really remember about it. But my friend Pam, she made us watch this movie called Halloween Town, which also turns out a series of movies. Like, it's 3 movies in total. But anyways, there's a lot of, like, elements from those type of, like, old movies and form of entertainment about witches. So a lot of, like, physical props and very much, similar elements about witches and all that stuff. It's, like, just very cool. It's like a celebration of all these movies. It's just so good. Like, it transports you into this, like, very cozy and whimsical sort of like vibe, like, environment, and just it's just very captivating, in my opinion. Like, it was so well executed, and I think the more I honestly rewatched it, like, already 3 times, the first episode. Like, I've rewatched both of them 3 times already because it's so good, and, like, I love the world building. That's one thing about the director for this. Um, she is incredible at world building in her own right, I guess, because like the only world building she did was creating Westview, but it's incredible how with 2 TV shows she already created a world, an entire town, let's just say, that works with its own laws and like has its own lore already, as different elements in it. So it's just incredible. Jack Schaefer basically is the name of the producer and director of these TV shows, but she is incredibly smart, incredibly um, sophisticated. I would say she's very good at planting seeds and little Easter eggs, and making like she's great at creating conversations, like generating fun theories, which is also, I think, in a way, marketing wise, drives the engagement with the entire TV show to the roof, basically. Which is what made WandaVision work so well, and I think she's able to recreate it so well here as well. So yeah, incredible stuff. I think also what's really really important about the show. So like, of course, if you like mysteries, you're covered here. If you like fall vibes, like in terms of mood, setting, or whatever, incredible. If you like a little bit of a spooky vibe, like that's for you. This is it. If you like witches, if you like witchcraft, history of that, this is gonna be good for you as well. If you like very female centric, I would say, doesn't have to be necessarily, because these characters are built not on their gender or whatever, but they're built on like actual characteristics, let's just say, which is so smart, I think, and should not deter you from watching just because it's like full of women, right? So if you like very complex characters with different motivations and different mysteries to uncover, you're covered. So this show it hits in different areas. It's like so sophisticated, I would think, and I think what's really important about this as well is that it, for the first time ever, well, not first time, there must be other examples that I'm not thinking about now, but it's one of the most interesting approaches to queer characters in a way as well. Same thing I was saying about female characters not being portrayed based solely on their gender. But here, the queerness of the characters is just part of who they are. There's no need to make a big deal about it. Like the main, the only teen in the show, he is a gay character. Like he has a boyfriend, whatever. But we don't really care. Like there's no conversation about queerhood here. Like the characters are just characters. That's it. And then Agatha and Rio are, of course, 2 fat lesbians. So. And that's the beauty of it. Like I think that's how we are supposed to be talking about these topics, I think, in entertainment. Like they're not supposed to be made out to be like this huge entire point of the show. Like these are just features of the characters, just how they would be in real life. Like if you meet a gay person, you wouldn't talk to them about just gay things, you know what I mean? Like you would talk to them as if they are average people who have different interests and are intricated and layered human beings, right? So that's so refreshing to see. I think another sort of great portrayal of queer characters must have been, I think, recently Challengers. I think that was a very nice, even though the entire movie was about a love triangle, the queerness of the characters was never the entire point of the movie. And here it's the same thing. Like the queerness of the characters is not the point of the show. They are queer, and that's it. There's no time to there's no need to expand and go into the specificities of their queerness, because it's just how they are. Because that's how people are in general. We have different facets of our being, in a way. So it's very cool to see, very refreshing. I think it's if it does well, if this show generates a lot of traction, I think it's going to be a nice breakthrough for queer representation in TV shows. So I'm very excited about that. And also, if this does well, we might finally be able to get a solo Wanda Maximoff TV show, movie, because yes, she's dead technically, but I think they made several points in the show and in interviews, and even Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Wanda Maximoff, has said multiple times that it seems like she's dead, but there's plenty of ways of on how she could come back, or maybe she's not actually dead and she's somewhere else. But so there's a door open for her to return either way. So I'm excited to see that personally, and I hope this does well, and I hope you guys support my girl who is the sole reason why one of the movies where she was supporting Doctor Strange or whatever got to almost $1 billion. So y'all need to put your faith into these people. Jack Schaefer supposedly is gonna be, if this does well, of course, and if the movie gets greenlit, she's gonna be the director behind, like the director behind that movie. I think that's what they were saying, or just the producer in a way. But I urge you to watch this first two episodes. Just give it a go. If you want to like be in the fall vibes, just get like a little autumnal snack, like a little cinnamon bun or like a little pumpkin spice latte, something that's like fall vibes, and just like go and watch it. I think you'll be put in a great mood, and you will be slightly spooked. It's not horror whatsoever, but it's spooky in that sense. Like it's that sort of vibe, and it's just incredible. I think I really liked it. Even the way it's written, the way it's like directed is just so smart, very captivating from the start. Like 10 minutes in, you're like hooked into the show, I think. And yeah, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do in the next episodes, because we finished the second episode with them actually getting to the road, starting the road, basically starting their entire walk. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna go, and to uncover the mysteries, to solve the fucking mysteries about this, because this is so exciting. I haven't felt this like drawn to a show and like so excited to see what's gonna happen next since probably like this reignited me like a passion for Marvel stuff when there used to be like so many fan theories and all that stuff. Like that's what kept us going. That's the secret sauce, and I think hopefully this is a good sign that Marvel might be back on track. Hopefully, who knows? But please take note, Kevin Feige. These are the people we want to work on these things. People are like who know how to like drive an entire plot and just not basically check boxes and tick boxes about representation or whatever. Just do, if you want to do representation, do it right, or don't do it at all. That's my opinion. So yeah, what really draws people to a form of entertainment is the actual plot, not the characters. Like the characters are essential, of course, to the story, but the characters should not be like archetypes, or like should not be a list of boxes you need to tick. Like variety and like and diversity, a hire and all that stuff. Like we don't want that. We want actual fleshed out characters and good plots. That's it. We don't ask for much. We're not asking for much. And also we need mystery. I think you need to like plant these seeds and like be a bit more intentional with these things to create more engagement and I guess more chatter. I think this was actually trending on Twitter when it first aired, and it's still like generating a lot of stuff. And I think on TikTok, as I said, it's going viral. Like edits of Agatha specifically is just, she's so good. The character here is just incredible. She's like very snarky, very cunty, I would say. She has a lot of great lines, great moments. She's just so funny and rude. I love her. So yeah, just give it a go. And I don't know, I guess I would like to say thank me later, because I think you will enjoy it. I think you will enjoy it. So yeah. Anyways, bye. Have a great week ahead, guys.